to welcome you to this episode of Higher Dimensions. And in this episode, I want to introduce you to a third self. In my previous videos, I talk about the shadow self, and I talk about the persona or the social self, the mask that we wear. And so those are two different aspects of who you are and of your personality. In this episode, I want to introduce you to a third self, which is, are you ready? The divine self. This is based on the idea and really the fact that you are an aspect, you are an emanation or a particle of the divine, that you are God manifested in human personality. And a big part of this journey that we're on spiritually is to realize that truth and to be able to bring that self forth and manifest that self. Now, a lot of people don't even know that they have the divine self, and they spend most of their life stuck in the social self or dealing with the shadow self. And really, the purpose of any kind of shadow work or inner work or self work that you do is to be able to reconcile those things in order that you might be more whole, that you might be happier, but ultimately that you might begin to transcend those aspects of your personality and discover the divine self within. And so I want to just kind of introduce that idea in this video and let you know that you aren't just your social self. In my previous videos, I talked about how the social self and the shadow self are aspects of social programming and the way that we learn to operate and move in the world in which we live, the social world in which we live, where our mind and emotions become programmed or patterned by the society that is around us, our family, our experiences in school, our religion, whatever the case may be. And a lot of people get stuck in that self and don't realize that they actually have a deeper level of themselves, which is absolutely divine. And it carries with it the programming, if you will, of God. And God is love. And so when you begin to discover the divine self, you begin to find states of bliss. You begin to realize that you're connected, you are in your essence, in your truest identity, you have everything that you need for this life to create it and make it wonderful and special and anything that you want it to be. And in order to do that, you have to begin to access that part of you that is divine. So how do you begin to do that? Well, you begin to do it, first of all, by realizing it and by affirming it, by realizing that you aren't solely this being that's trapped in three-dimensional realities in this lifetime, but that you have a aspect of yourself that absolutely is one with God and one with everything. This is the state that mystics talk about. And to begin to do that, you have to begin to shed your identity as who you are or who you know yourself to be as a result of your social programming, which of course gives birth, as I've said, to the social self or the persona and the shadow self. And so the first step is simply just begin to accept and affirm and realize that you have a divine self. Now, when you do that, you lose all sense of lack because you realize that within you is everything that you need. Within you is all the love, all the joy, all the peace, all the power, all the wisdom, the answer to every problem. Everything that you already need isn't other than you or outside of you. It's actually deep within you. And so I want to encourage you today to just begin, if you haven't, or if you're on this journey already, and most likely if you're watching this video, you probably are. So I just want to encourage you to begin to discover and affirm and begin to think about yourself as being other than what you know yourself to be in this world, and begin to affirm that you are the divine, that you have within you creative potentials, that you have within you a part that transcends everything. Now, this can really be helpful for people who are struggling with psychological, mental, or emotional problems. It can be helpful for people who have been traumatized or abused in their life, because oftentimes when we've been severely traumatized, especially if it happened when we were children, we begin to construct our reality out of and out from that trauma. And so we begin to experience all kinds of patterns showing up in our lives, in relationships, in work life, in the way that we experience and express ourselves, in the events and people that we attract to ourselves. And we can begin to think that we're just stuck there, that that's just all there is to us. And so, this idea that you can begin to transcend it, that there is a part of you that's never been affected by anything that's happened to you. There's a part of you that is completely untouched and immune to that. And the acknowledging and the manifesting of that aspect of yourself gives you the possibility to transcend all of your pain. It gives you the possibility to love yourself and to love others. And it gives you the possibility to begin to experience abundance and joy and bliss in this life in such a way that it's not dependent. Those states of being are not at all dependent upon your circumstances or the people in your life. And so I just want to encourage you today. I want to introduce the idea and the concept. If you're watching this, I really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd appreciate that. You can like or comment below. In the next video, I'm going to talk about some of the first aspects of mastery when this divine self begins to come forth. So I hope you'll look forward to that. And I hope whatever time you're watching this, morning, afternoon, evening, nighttime, whatever it is, that it'll be really wonderful for you. And I hope that you will take from this some idea that you are significant and that you really do have the ability within you. It's not something you have to go get. It's not something you have to become. It's not something you have to self-improve. You just have to discover this sort of undiscovered self that you have that is absolutely wonderful and absolutely divine. And that is the reality of who you are.